That thumbnail was a look at two people who just saw Mother. Good news, the movie played this time. If you haven't seen the American Assassin video,
yeah, I was supposed to be at that.
well, you were already planning on seeing this one anyway.
Yeah, but my God.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I actually really liked this movie, honestly. But at the same time, I was like, I have a feeling, especially in the third act of this movie, I was like, I have a feeling that when this movie is over, there's gonna be not happy sounds from the audience. This movie screams of movie that's well reviewed, but probably has like a D on CinemaScore.
You know what's funny though is when it came out, they showed a preview for this.
Yeah,
and they were trying to market it like it was just another horror movie. Come experience Mother.
It's an experience.
And yeah, it's an experience, all right.
It's an experience. Like, I haven't had one like this in quite a while. I was thoroughly entertained by this. But if anyone goes into this thinking that they're gonna see some horror movie, they probably don't know who Darren Aronofsky is.
Yeah, you know, me, I can't say I liked it so much. I don't even know where to start.
Neither do I, and I enjoyed it.
First of all, I mean, there were some things that, like, just the psychological look and everything of the movie, that stuff was neat. Yeah. I mean, Aronofsky does that quite well. I mean, Noah sucked. But
I like that one too.
But it had like some cool elements to it. And this one, first of all, I knew how it was going to end.
I didn't.
Because of the beginning. I had a hunch.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if that's exactly how it's going to end.
But I didn't know all the steps that were going to lead up to something that. I found the movie, I found aspects of it unpredictable. I saw what they were doing there. It's not easy to figure out the allegory that they're making as the movie goes along. But where it was going to end up and what kind of note it was going to end on.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like, I don't know. I have ideas, but I mean, fuck me. It could be about anything.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it was just one of those... I mean, I understood it too, but it was almost weird for the sake of being weird. And just the story, I mean, Jennifer Lawrence's face in this, the face she makes through 90% of the movie is, I'm sure, how a lot of the audience is going to be looking at this movie.
I don't blame this
and I honestly was one of, oh yeah, and I don't blame her either. I mean, because, I mean, she's got a lot of things to look that way about.
I thought because there's a lot of people in this movie, but it oddly enough simultaneously feels like a one-woman show.
Yeah.
Even though there are a lot of people in this, and I thought she carried the performance really, really well, and a lot of that goes into the filmmaking too. But if there was one thing that they had her doing a lot, it was constantly going, hey! You could make a super cut of the amount of times they have Jennifer Lawrence go, hey!
Hey!
In this. But the movie's, it's very weird. It's very absurd, but it's, from beginning to end, it was eerie. Like, just little things, like it opens where she's walking through the house, whether she's making breakfast, whether she's looking outside, or just talking to her husband, or having a conversation with Ed Harris. There is just something eerie about it, something unsettling and suspicious and somewhat sinister, even when it's trying to be relatively normal.
Yeah.
And it's filmed very much in a way that so this actually feels like a really early Polanski movie. A little David Lynch and Ken Russell thrown in there. It's sort of like, Did Darren Aronofsky discover 60s drugs and now he's making his Repulsion or The Tenant or something like that, or The Devils?
I do have to say one thing I did like about it was the fact that it looked like an older movie.
It very much did, yeah.
When I was searching for images to use in my review later, and it's like, why are all these images like grainy, and why are all these images kind of out of focus? It's because it looks like an older movie. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a clean digital look. It looks like an old film, and that worked for me.
Oh, same here, because it's just a style that I prefer. But they do a good job of making you feel just uncomfortable through a lot of stuff in this, whether it's being very close on the actors' faces or using weird cuts after sentences. And through a lot of this, I was like, this movie's doing a hell of a job simulating anxiety.
Yeah.
Because, okay, Javier Bardem is a poet. He lives in this house in the middle of nowhere with his wife, who's Jennifer Lawrence, and then this couple shows up, and it's Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, and it turns out they're big fans of his. He's got writer's block. And boy, does one thing lead... the term one thing leads to another, or that escalated quickly, doesn't even cover half of this movie. But when it's... Because, okay, somebody ends up dying at one point, and then suddenly there's this wake and this funeral and this gathering in there. And in situations like that, it did such a good job of creating anxiety.
Yeah.
It
just came out of nowhere, because all of a sudden there's 20 people in the house.
Yeah.
And they're going all over the house. And of course Jennifer Lawrence has that look on her face, running around the house trying to figure out what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Trying to stop them from going to rooms they're not supposed to go in. And I give the movie credit about anxiety.
Yeah.
I give the movie a lot of credit with the way it was made, the way it looked, the way it made you feel. I was interested until the end. And then the ending just kind of went, eh.
Yeah. I don't have that problem with the ending, but I can't argue with anyone who does.
Yeah.
But for me personally, no, I didn't have a problem with the way this movie went. Or,
isn't that lovely?
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
But it did a good job of putting you in the mind of someone in scenes with the wake and everything, where somebody who doesn't like being in confined places with a lot of people, whether it's a party or maybe a New Year's event or something like that, it did a good job of putting you in the mind of somebody who doesn't like being there, because it really did kind of simulate anxiety in that aspect, and through other points of the movie as well. Now, what the movie is doing, and here's where we get into spoiler territory.
We can't really talk about this movie without talking about this movie.
No, yeah, exactly. And the movie is, honestly, it could be in the same universe as Noah, if you think about it. If you really, really think about it.
I did.
Yeah, and that was a movie I really dug the shit out of. And I remember seeing that movie, and it came out and going man, Darren Aronofsky needs to do more biblical movies. And well, guess what? That's what this movie is. This movie uses celebrity, instant fame, idol worship, and all of that stuff to, in this very, very small period of time, basically tell the creation of Christianity, of Christianity or religion in general, through this odd event that is happening with this poet and his wife, and then she gets pregnant, and he instantly gets this fame, and you're seeing this batshit third act that in a very short period of time is going through thousands of years worth of Christian history. It's insane. From beginnings of it, where, you know, the creation of Earth to martyrdom to a Messiah to people really warping the idea of this guy's message and his and the faith and everything, and doing executions and human sacrifices. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, because one second they're showing you one thing, and then Jennifer Lawrence will turn her head, and like the next part will be starting,
and then
out of nowhere
there's Kristen Wiig executing people with bags on her head. I'm not making it up. That is something that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
And I really dug the shit out of it. Like, I was thoroughly entertained. I'm like, I'm experiencing something I haven't in a long goddamn time. Like, look, I mean, this isn't the kind of movie to where if someone doesn't like it, because it really seems like I did like it a lot better than you did. Yes. But it's like, I can't sit here and be like, whoa, dude, you just didn't get this movie, man. No. Like, I can't sit here and do that. Like, it's a unique experience, and you'll take out of it exactly what you put into it, you know? And for me, I was thoroughly fascinated by it. I had no idea what crazy shit it was going to do next, what weird-ass imagery it was going to give me, and with the filmmaking, the sound quality, the acting, it was creepy. It was creepy and eerie, and still kind of funny, too, at the same time.
You know, and that's just it. I wouldn't tell people not to see it. I mean, if you're interested, check it out. I mean, the worst you can say is this movie sucks. Like a lot of the people that were leaving the theater saying, I can't remember what that girl said behind it. She's like, that was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They do that to the baby. It's like, okay, yeah. Yeah, for me, it lost. I mean, it didn't lose me. I got it, but just as a whole, the movie lost me. I in the end, I didn't care.
I did.
But I understand why you did.
I understand why someone wouldn't like. It's because it is. Yeah, it's sort of, it's like a ride. It's like a carnival ride
from hell.
Look, you're gonna get something out of it. Like if you go on a roller coaster that's on the side of a skyscraper, you're gonna get something out of that. Whether you like the experience or not, it's totally up to the person. But yeah, no, even through all that, it still had me, like, with creepy Javier Bardem sitting there and, like, waiting for her to fall asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Staring at her and shit like that.
Yeah, I can't argue against him being creepy. Especially with that stare. I mean, that stare, brings me back to, like, something from, like, No Country for Old Men, where he just has that look in his eyes. And he does it here. And, yeah, you know what he's waiting for. And then the second it happens, it's like he does what he's going to do. And it's like, yep, you saw it coming, but it's still creepy.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
Like a better version of The Apple. Like, you ever see The Apple?
I don't think so.
Skull and Globus movie from 1980. It's this coked out fucking musical. I love batshit fucking musical, and that one's batshit is fucking crazy. It's not good, don't get me wrong, but I love crazy, like, what the fuck were they thinking, like, movies like that. Both movies have to do with religious allegories and putting it in a quote-unquote modern setting. That movie was The Distant Future of 1994, where, like, the evil record company is run by Satan and has taken over the world, but it has allegories of the apple, Adam and Eve, the Messiah, the second coming, all of that. And so does this. Whereas that movie's about the music industry, this movie is with publishing. Yeah. This movie's not a musical, but
I don't know, there is a rave at one point.
There is, yeah, that is true. But this movie also has allegories for the apple, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
Cain and Abel and all of that. And like I was like, you know what? Menachem Golem would probably really like this movie. Yeah, if you watch this on a double feature with the Apple, you'll have an amazing night. And you'll be addicted to something by the end of it.
Are we going to get Mother 2 Electric Boogaloo then?
That's a different canon film. I do recommend this. I do, but I guess know what you're getting into when you sign up for this. Like, look, it's if you want a good crowd pleasing horror movie, there's it.
Yep.
And it's really, really fucking good. I mean, if you want some batshit fucking late 60s, early 70s art horror insanity, I really dug the fuck out of this movie. I really like Darren Aronofsky a lot, so I was looking forward to this going into the movie. So for me personally, I would recommend checking it out in theaters.
Yeah, I would still say if you're interested. if you have an inkling of being interested in it, take a look at it.
What would you personally like for yourself? Would you have classified this as like a rental or Netflix or something like that?
Yeah, I would have waited for a rental myself if I could go back and do things over again. Because honestly, this is one that I think I would like to rewind and check out scenes again, you know, just to see if, you know, what I missed the first time.
Sure.
Kind of things where you're not going to get everything in the first viewing of it. So there is that aspect. But wanting to see it in the theater, I would say, I'd say no.
This is one of those movies that, like, you could pick up on a lot of stuff seeing it a second time, and it would be something like, oh, I didn't notice the first time there was that guy fucking a bison in the background. Like, it seems like that kind of movie where that would be something you would see in the background.
Don't say that about Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, it's Michelle Pfeiffer was smoking.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, there's a scene where she's telling him to get out, right? And she goes away for a second. She comes back, and Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris are having sex in the other room. It's like, okay.
Lovely party. So yeah, I guess that's my final thoughts on it. Me personally, yeah, I do recommend it, but if it's not gonna be for everybody. Do you want to promote? You got is your Punisher video up now?
On the Real Gino YouTube channel, starting a lot of new stuff. I have Netflix and Chance, which is a random Netflix thing where I have a randomizer and it picks a movie. And I've also started a Punisher in movies and TV and games retrospective, and the first episode just went up the other day. I'm really proud of it, and I'm looking forward to doing more of them.
Nice.
Just did the Dolph Lundgren movie. Next is the Tom Jane movie. Got a lot more to go, so I'm having a lot of fun with that. So if you want to follow me, that's the Real Gino, REELGENO.
And you can find us at the Cinema Snob on Twitter, of course, thecinemasnob.com. And thanks a bunch, everybody in the chat, for I think it might actually be midnight this time. Once in a while that happens on this show with midnight in the title. Thanks a bunch. See you guys.